everybody. My name is Rashida Sokolov, and welcome to my show called The Elite Life. Where we're going to talk about right now is kind of like a spinoff of the last episode, but a little bit more in detail. How to escape toxic people's energy for an effective and a peaceful life. So the first slide would be to how to identify key points from toxicity. Toxicity comes in several ways, which are overt and covert fashions. The first one that we're going to talk about in order to identify it is gaslighting. This person will deliberately do damaging behavior when confronted, change subjects to avoid a question at hand, and then tell you they've never did it in the first place or it never happened. In fact, they will tell you that you did it to them, then continue the behavior afterwards. The second one is projecting. So the toxic person will prematurely assume how you are feeling and automatically put the horrible feeling emotions that they are feeling and experiences onto you. This comes if someone is self-absorbed momentarily. The third topic will be false victimization. This is doing a dehumanizing act and then diverting attention away from those acts of abuse, claiming that it was justified based on another person's bad behavior. This comes if they're fearful that they're about to get caught in doing something awful. Grooming. Grooming is constantly putting a behavior into someone and rewarding them for the goal of abusive power and control by also soliciting sympathy from others to gain assistance in supporting or enabling the abuse of the victim. The next one is manipulation. Manipulators, they portray themselves as victims of circumstances or someone else's behavior in order to gain pity or sympathy, to evoke compassion, and thereby get something from someone. So the next slide will be about the effects of staying around toxic energy. Obviously, you're going to get sick, mentally, emotionally, even physically. So the first one is you'll be left emotionally exhausted after an encounter with them. They take cheap shots at you to make themselves feel better about themselves. The second one is they will try to intimidate you to get their way. They make fearful threats to get their way. So these things would be detrimental to a relationship. And if your friends, your friends, whoever you perceive is your friends, are following this, doing any of these criteria, just stay away from them. Drop them like a hot potato. So number 3, they try to control you by guilt tripping. Number 4, they're easily jealous of you. They play the victim role when makeshifted boundaries are crossed by means of control or not respected. They can't take the word no. That's the 5th one. There will be psychological damaging consequences when used. The 6th one is that they give backhanded compliments. That's a positive compliment with a little negativity in it. They constantly see themselves as a victim. This is to avoid any consequence to their abusive actions, just like I mentioned before. Number 8, they are self-absorbed, meaning that they are more concerned about themselves than the well-being of yourself. Number 9, they have no respect for boundaries. And number 10, they overshare extremely personal or intimate details about themselves or others right away. Chances are they want approval so badly they will bear any secret. Watch it, because you could be their future subject with any close details you may have shared with them to another person. So that's really, concerning. And those are like the things that you should identify with. And they come as red flags right in the beginning. Do not ignore red flags. Okay, so the next slide will be how to get your power, joy, and peace back. You must know that toxic people are trying to take your energy and transfer it into them to feel better. So in other words, misery loves company. It is a conscious decision for you to give your happiness to them. Think of a person giving you an defective gift for superficial satisfaction. You could observe that it is defective by seeing a smirk on their face as they are giving it to you. It is your option to take it in or absorb or leave it right where the source that it came from. So these are ways to give it back to them. Observe, do not absorb. So if they're having a bad day, clearly, it's your decision to just look at the circumstance at hand. You do not have to absorb their energy into you. The next one is stand your ground. Toxic people, they prey upon those who they perceive to be futile or weak. If an opinion of a toxic person flies your way, observe it and say what the source of what the emotion the toxic person may be feeling back to them. That's something similar to call mirroring. Okay, if a toxic person is telling you to do something firmly and constantly until you do it, stand your ground. Firstly, weigh in your mind that if it's a logical thing to do and if you want to do it in the first place. If not, say no, then exit or say you must go if it is over the phone. So these things, toxic people, they do have a benefit in your life. Not a lot of people look at it this way, but there was a saying that if you have a dripping hose and it's dripping water and you take your thumb and restrict it, it builds pressure. So the pressure, after you let it go, it shoots out like feet in front of you. So if you think about toxic people, these people are there to elevate you in that certain way. The same exact analogy that I mentioned to you prior, currently. So the next slide is about getting your peace back. This is continued. Here are some statements you could use to deflect their negative emotions back onto them. Number 1, I'm sorry you feel that way. Number 2, you're entitled to your own opinion, but it doesn't have to become my reality. Number 3, I don't have to accept your flawed perception of me, then get up and leave. Number 4, there's actually the same one. I don't have to accept your flawed perception of me, then get up and leave. That was an error, sorry about that. Allow the person to speak afterwards, then respond in a slow, quiet reaction. This will give the person that is snapping an image that will appear unstable and no one will want nothing to do with them. Remember, respond. Do not react. Do not give them your energy. So the next slide will be about how to gain your power back. When you see the toxic person trying to take energy from you, you can, number 1, set limits, because toxic people have no empathy, nor can they really love. You must leave them cold turkey and endure the pain. So the best way to do that, you can wean yourself off of the person. Do not look at their social media. Do not contact them. Substitute those activities for reading a book or self-soothing, taking a bath, getting a massage, getting your nails done, getting your hair done. Set limits and say no to them and in your heart. Then gather all your strength and keep walking into the unknown towards something better. So there are benefits, like I mentioned before. They build strength. Toxic people build strength within you. Number 2, do not fall for manipulation. They will use every trick to get back at you, so be prepared. Toxic people are really convincing. So when you're ready to leave, stick to your convictions and move on to a more positive future filled with real love, just like I mentioned before. Number 3, focusing into the future. Once detached from toxicity quietly, it is extremely important that you focus on all your positive energy and thoughts on doing good things for yourself and around the world. Don't let your mind wander to the past or what they are doing, like I mentioned before. So the next slide will be about trauma bonds. Unfortunately, whenever, depending on the duration of the relationship, you may develop a trauma bond. These are constant worrisome rumination thoughts that will take you back into the trauma that you experienced with the person, and it could be very, very traumatic. This could also be part of a symptom of complex PTSD. These are ways to take care of yourself during the healing process. Number 1, use self-love techniques. Get enough sleep to feel revitalized. You could attend a yoga class or go for a run. Fill your fridge with healthy whole foods. Drink plenty of water. And schedule in time for fun, adventure, or relaxation. Basically, keep busy. Value yourself enough to make self-care practices a regular part of your routine. Number 2, use emotional freedom techniques. This is a healing tool where you tap on specific parts of your body while repeating a mantra for affirmation. If you're feeling anxious or self-critical about a particular issue or problem, you could use EFT to release your negative emotional energy and reestablish inner calm and peace. Use the mantra, even though I blank, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. There is a very important addition to this. You cannot become, codependent or seek approval from other people. It's a lot easier if you seek the approval of yourself. That's another one to help. Number 3, connect with your inner being. We spend most of our lives basing our worth on titles, roles, and achievements. We identify our successes and failures, relationship status, title, bank balance, job titles, bank balance, and titles as if they tell the complete story of who you are. This is not true, people. Okay, so the next slide will be about forgiveness. I know it may be difficult at first, but you have to do this. The first picture says, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who mistreat you. So, number 1, toxic people are in pain. Offer relief in some form to them. This is not being a people pleaser. It is to make your peace return back to you. Do good to those who don't like you. Okay, so the next one, this number 2, will be about forgiving someone. This makes room for happiness and love for oneself. The definition in the Bible says to treat them as if it never happened in the first place. So forgiveness is not something we do for other people. We do it for ourselves to get well and move on. Forgiving does not mean that you have to return to the same toxic environment for more pain. Simply move on with your life and elevate it in a positive fashion. So I hope that these things are very, very helpful for you. And if you have any questions, you could go to a local church or therapist for more information. It's very helpful. There's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. And these things benefit you in the long run. So God bless you and have a nice day. Goodbye.